This is Meme Politic.
This is Hui.
This is Thrash Bastard.
This is Kenny Memes.
Bull Moose Memes.
Moose Memes.
Abe Lincoln's House of Memes.
Big Stick History.
Jeffersonian.
And we never listen.
I've never listened.
And we never listen.
We never.
We never.
We never.
I never.
We never.
And we never listened to Untaken.
And we're live.
We are. Good job. Got it that time.
We nailed it.
Sorry. What were you saying before?
Oh, they keep Hulk Hogan is speaking at the RNC tonight, and it keeps showing his picture and saying that he's going to speak tonight on the Chiron. It's distracting. Every time
Never
I see
forget,
his,
Donald Trump is the first WWE president. He's
Sure.
in the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm almost certain he was
Yes.
a storyline in WWE for real.
Yes.
Yeah, of course Hulk Hogan's there.
among the many other firsts that Donald Trump is, that's one of them. Yes,
It's one of them. Yeah. Man. Yeah. I was thinking of some other things he got lucky with. Nope, that's not what I was going to do. Dude, has this been the wildest 3 weeks in politics that you can remember in your lifetime? Sometimes
Yes.
things happen and you're like, you don't realize how unique they are because things are so crazy already. But then, like, if you just stop and you're like, wait, is this truly the wildest 3 weeks in politics in my life?
in my lifetime, yes. I don't think in American history
3
necessarily
weeks?
at all. Yeah, maybe 3.
I mean, the 69 was
60s
wild because you had assassination after assassination.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And there were some other times. But yeah, it's been
69 was
definitely it's
wild.
up there. It's up there.
It's up there.
In my lifetime for sure.
There. Okay. So at the end of the hidden track, we were having a little thing about the shooter, and the face was left up. His, like, whatever the one picture people have of him, like looking like Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. The Mona Lisa smile. Yes.
Yeah. And it was up. I grabbed the beer. I came back in. I was like, why is this face still here? I closed it. And then I asked you and you didn't hear me. I said, am I a bad person that I kind of actually feel bad for him?
Oh.
I've felt this way before with other shooters.
Yeah.
Like I've seen I've been like, I wish you weren't like a tortured person and so broken to like
Yeah.
to do this,
There's so much we don't know about this guy, although
It makes it easier to fill it with possible sympathy.
Sure,
right? Yeah.
sure. I did hear that they found some of his search history, and that he apparently searched for the location of the Democratic, the DNC convention as well,
Wow.
which might indicate.
Well,
that,
you could just leave that one up to the actuarial tables. I mean, I don't.
yeah, I mean, but
like I could try to kill Biden or the death vending machine. What's that called?
right,
Machine?
yeah. So perhaps he was just willing to commit suicide by assassination attempt in any
Clearly
large
what he-
stage.
Well, you know what? I can't say that that's clearly true because we'll probably talk about it later on. Is there any headlines about him in the show?
Him specifically, I don't think so.
So didn't he have 2 IEDs in his car and a switch on him to set them off? So he probably thought he'd get away with the shot, set off a distraction, right?
And then get away, maybe.
Think.
I know they found explosives at his home and in his vehicle. Yeah, I didn't know about the switch, but
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, you know what? We could also be spreading misinformation. It's fine.
Sure. Hey,
Okay.
actually, you know what? This fits right here. I will
fit it
just,
in right here, Alan.
I'll just fit it right here. I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this, but this came up on a show I was listening to yesterday, and I was pretty surprised by these statistics. So, we've had 45 presidents since the inception of this country. Grover Cleveland served 2 non-consecutive terms, so that's why.
Yeah, but we've also had extra presidents because of. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. 4 presidents have been assassinated: Lincoln, Garfield, McKinley, and JFK. And then 6 to 7, and depending on how you want to count this, but Andrew Jackson there was an attempt, but the gun misfired. Teddy Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt were shot. Harry Truman, gunmen were stopped. They didn't ever get to him, but they killed a cop.
You said Gerald Ford twice, right?
Gerald Ford next, then Ronald Reagan, and now Trump. Now, Trump wasn't a sitting president when he was shot, so you can count or discount that. But that's 6 or 7, plus the 4 who
FDR was a sitting president.
Yes, he was. So that's 10 to 11 presidents out of 45 who have either been assassinated or assassination attempts got very close. Some were actually shot. 10 out of 45, 11 out of 45. If you told me that the job I was applying for, the last 45 people that had it, 10 of them were shot, 4 of them were killed, I don't think I'd take that job. Like that's,
get some pretty cool letterhead.
I mean, yeah. But
And then Oval Office head too.
we've, we'll ask Clinton about that. I mean, so we think that this political violence is such a, an aberration, but dude, we live in a violent country. I mean, that's pretty.
You know what?
wild.
I rarely regret hedging on the show. Me and the boys are hedging, but I
Mhm.
pulled my punches a little bit with the whole make politicians afraid again. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it should be pretty reasonable that if you're going to stand up to say, I need to lead you, that you understand that there's consequences for you doing that in a less than genuine, in a, like you are a servant of the people. And when
Right.
you do it in a self-serving way, I think you should expect there to be, out of the millions of people, a handful that are going to attempt to take you out if you're doing things that everybody
Hold
gets.
you accountable.
But then, like, so what is that about JFK then, right? Like, what is that about? It's just crazy people. I mean, if you
Right.
look at the history, it's lone gunmen with,
Some
maybe
sort
they're
of
trying to
act,
get Jodie Foster to marry them or something, right?
Yeah.
Teenage Jodie Foster, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Just hearing that statistic kind of blew my mind a little bit, to realize that out of the 45 presidents we've had, 10 to 11 of them have faced this sort of danger. It's it makes you take a breath,
It does, yeah. How about a palate cleanser? I was going to play
Yeah.
a clip from one of the rallies, but I think a palate cleanser, just a little silly one to start the show, might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
I like that it pleasures Chick-fil-A workers to serve me. I got to pleasure an old woman today, and
Y'all let me in this damn house.
Should we hit record?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
All right, you ready?
I am ready. Are you recording?
Yes. All right. Well, you want to start a show?
Let's start a show.
That podcast is filling your head with garbage.
No offense taken there.
Well, it sounds like none taken.
Welcome to Not Taken Friday edition, where every week my good friend Alan wrangles up the headlines from all over the internet. And we talk them at you. Because I listen to 13 hours of podcasts a day, and Alan watches 3 hours of cable news. So you don't have to. And now, get ready. Take a sledgehammer to what do we take him to the culture war echo chamber.
So, another Friday is upon us. What will you be doing, Smithers? Something gay, no doubt.
Oh,
What? You know, lighthearted, fancy-free. Mothers, lock up your daughters. Smithers is on the town.
Exactly, sir.
Exactly, sir. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you. If you've been enjoying this show, please give us a 5-star review on whichever platform you do that on. I literally don't care. The idea there is that it spreads the word. It helps it become recommended easier.
Mhm.
And outside of that, that's for free, just to be a homie. But if you head on over to nonetakenpod.com, you got a lot of options on how you can give me a money now, please. So one way is join the Patreon. You're going to get something in return for that, though. I don't think there's anybody that's in the Patreon that's like, well, I'm not getting my value out of this. Today we did 40 minutes of pre-show. That one was pretty topical. So it's basically just getting stuff that we look. You do a 3.5-hour show, and you're like, I didn't say everything I want to do. So before we do the Friday show, we do a little bit more show. And it kind of gets us warmed up for this show. Sometimes it gets video and audio glitches out of the way, and I'm very grateful for that.
Indeed.
Yeah. So that's at nonetakenpod.com. Join the Patreon, get all that. What else can they do at None Taken Pod, Alan?
Oh, lots of things. Everything you need, None Taken, is at nonetakenpod.com. You can find our merch store there. You can buy some cool mugs like Dustin is holding up right now. We got hoodies, we got t-shirts, we got all kinds of cool stuff over there.
We should sell cool rocks for guys to give to girls.
We should. All our socials are over there. RSS feeds are over there. Also, there's a link over there for you to support the people that support us. Slickestdigital.com for all your SEO and marketing needs. Slickestdigital.com.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. The weekend is here. Have a can of beer. We're in the middle of July. That's crazy. Time is flying. Hope you're all having a great week, having a good weekend.
The B side of our platter of the year. Why are my dogs going crazy?
Perhaps there's a solar flare that's setting them off. I don't know.
Yeah, that was creative. Kind of took me out. I'm being a bad improv partner. Like, perhaps there was a solar flare. Yes. Maybe there was.
I don't know why that was the first thing that came into my head, but
our dog's like specially tuned into solar weather and patterns.
I'm going to go with that. Yeah, let's go with that.
All right,
sure.
You learned to hear on Untaken. Yeah,
they're tuned to solar weather.
Yeah, and they can also smell periods from miles away, Alan.
Okay, I'm going to yes and that as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we get into our headlines?
Yeah, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, Trump's running mate, gave a speech accepting the vice presidential nomination last night at the Republican National Convention. I watched the speech. Man,
I saw people saying that he had a bad stage presence, and I was like, this guy has done a TED Talk. Like, I can't imagine having bad stage presence. I think it wasn't what they were. I think people were looking at it expecting Paul Ryan, and they were like, this guy's like communicating in ways that he's basically communicating the way younger generations communicate on stage. And people were like, this is different. I don't think this guy knows what he's doing. Liberal media. Alan, your take?
I didn't think he had bad stage presence at all. In fact, I thought watching him
hip and cool.
I thought watching him speak, I was like, oh shit, Trump made the right call here. This guy can actually.
He did in terms of like agenda and propaganda, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
he blamed Biden for the opiate problem,
Yeah.
for the Afghanistan-Iraq war, for
so NAFTA caused the opioid problem, not Purdue Pharma, the person
right.
he hired.
Yeah, he blamed him for NAFTA. He blamed him for everything. But he was also like folksy, like he talked about his mama, whatever.
Yeah, he didn't say Mima. It was it was some Ohio version of Mima.
Yeah. And then how after she died, when they were going through her stuff, they found 19 loaded weapons in her home, scattered throughout.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he did very well. I'm curious to see what Trump will do tonight because, as we all know, Trump doesn't like being upstaged.
I'm telling you, man, if Biden drops out in the middle of Trump's speech, like it's whoever jumps in's candidacy. Like
that would be hilarious.
Are we going to talk about that? Are we done? Yeah, we'll
sure.
talk about that on a second. Oh, wait, time to talk about that? I mean,
next, well, we got a couple of headlines.
Hold on. Let's talk about so the big thing on the left is that MAGA is melting down because everyone on the left sees MAGA as all white supremacist racists, not like middle class that are annoyed with what the Democrats have to offer. Mm-hmm. So they're like, MAGA is all these white supremacists and racists. And then they look online and they see Nick Fuentes, the poster boy of white supremacists in MAGA. Trump had dinner with him and Kanye, remember?
Yes.
Real words. And in Mar-a-Lago, I think, right?
Yes.
And Nick Fuentes is melting down because JD Vance is married to an Indian woman I went to high school with. She was a freshman the year I was a senior.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At my high school, like the same one. So people are like, she's a brown, and people are getting upset about that. I just want to caution everyone that thinks that that's a sign that MAGA is cracking. Two things. Don't underestimate the fact that that is not the majority. That is, you are mistaking Donald Trump's movement to label them all as white racists. It's not, you like, just at your own peril think that that's what this is. Now, I think 100% of the white racists like Trump, but like you're like, it's a smaller circle than you think it is. And it's in areas where it's not a contested race anyway. So you're burning calories on something that's truly a distraction. If that's like and certainly don't get excited that Nick Fuentes, people like MAGA is splitting up and melting down. It's like a handful of racists are freaking out, Anyway, secondly, don't don't underestimate his cult's ability to change their principles based on his demands.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that Trump is definitely throughout his political life given a wink and a nod to that segment of the population. One might even say dog whistle to that segment of the population.
He's had
However,
audience capture, right? Like he's like, I
yeah,
don't want to say anything to upset these people that I never intended to,
right.
but I'm not surprised they like me, and I want to keep them.
The MAGA movement is not, as you say, just racially motivated.
As
It's
you say,
it's
you sound like Alex Baldwin's wife, where she pretended to be Spanish.
no. So I would say the MAGA movement is more a movement of grievance, a movement of the elites and the government at all has let us down. And so the reason that we're on this train is because we want to see all that blown up. And we think Trump is the guy to lead us to the promised land. That's the MAGA,
Yeah.
the heart of the MAGA movement, not white supremacy, while it does encompass that in its tent as well. Would you agree that's an accurate
Yes,
statement?
I think you nailed it. Yeah. And then so don't
I don't see it breaking apart at all, right?
and don't, because of your bias, act like they aren't going to be able to, even if they do feel that way. Like, you think they're going to vote for the Democrats tomorrow? Like, you think they're not going to vote?
No.
Like, they'll change their opinions based on what Donald Trump says is important.
Yeah, no, I don't think J.D. Vance's wife being Indian is going to do anything to disrupt the MAGA movement. That's not.
They do have a kid named Vivek,
which is weird.
It is weird. Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
Bad simulation, right? That's how like everybody in Carthage history was named like Hamilcar and Hannibal, and
right.
Everybody was a Barca. Well, not everybody was a Barca, but
that's crazy. You went to the same high school as her,
right? Yeah,
that's wild.
I know, it's really weird. Yeah. President Biden tested positive for JOEVID-19.
Yes, he has mild symptoms, according to the White House.
He took Paxlovid.
Yes, he did. They said that he doesn't have a fever, but he does have a runny nose and some.
He better go catch it.
Prince William in a can. Yeah, it's so that's interesting. So he was supposed to be I think in Vegas at some event. They canceled that. It does feel a little bit like let me sit on the sidelines for a minute and evaluate where we're actually at. We're gonna get into some Biden stuff here. In fact,
he had a pretty good showing in I think this was in Detroit where he did this.
I'm gonna come to the overflow room.
I'm going to come in the overflow room.
Okay. Was that the overflow room?
Yeah, I haven't been able to figure out the joke with that, but like, I'm going to come in the overflow room. I tried to find one without the music in the back, and the music was playing. That was part of it.
That was
okay. I don't mean to distract from this. So, last week we said it was Jovid. Last week we said it was Jover. Today we're saying it's Jovid. Why is it so Jovid? I think we didn't talk about it in the hidden track, so we can talk about it here.
Well, so here, I'll hit this next headline, then we can talk about that. Representative Adam Schiff publicly urged President Biden to end his 2024 election bid. The prominent Democrat joins a list of 20 party lawmakers.
Amy Schumer's uncle.
Amy Schumer's uncle, yes.
The most powerful man in the Senate, third in line of the presidency.
I added a New York Times headline here as well.
Sent me this. Yeah, this is even more of an update, right?
Yeah, so this is today. This came out at updated 8:36 p.m. Eastern, so just minutes ago. Headline is: People close to Biden say he appears to accept he may have to leave the race. So
that's not going backwards. That's not. No. So and then he thought about it.
They quote people that are close to the president. Of course, they don't name their sources, which you would expect. And it sounds like people around him are saying, "Hey, like maybe it's time." I don't know. I said on the show last week that I thought that I was seeing a lot of momentum in sort of the Biden needs to step aside, and it felt like a dam was breaking. More and more people, more and more pundits. You had Morning Joe this morning on his show.
Is that Joe Biden's morning show?
No, Joe Scarborough.
Oh, that's right.
Saying essentially like you got to step down.
Wow,
what
'cause he was the guy that was delusionally saying how like
Yeah.
impressive he's seen and vigorous he's seen Joe.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
today was it was quite the 180. But I think what you're seeing is a lot of these representatives, the House members, Senate members who have who are up for election in this cycle, understanding that the top of the ticket is affecting down ballot races. And with Biden at the top of the ticket, they're probably going to lose their seat. And so now suddenly it's, their ass is on the
Oh,
line
now
too.
there's something in it for them.
Right. Which, I mean, say what you will about politicians, they definitely care about themselves.
Well, and that tells you that there's reality to that.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So you're seeing a lot of these guys coming out and saying, "Hey, like we need to do something here. We're going to lose not only the president, the White House. We're going to lose the House and the Senate, maybe by a large margin."
Large margin.
Large margin, yes. So yeah, it definitely seems like that call is getting louder and louder and louder, and perhaps
It's coming from inside the house.
It's coming from inside the house.
Okay, so the issues with that. When last we spoke, there was an Ohio. There was an Ohio issue with Biden being the nominee and stuck that way, and something to do with the convention
being on the ballot. Yeah. So, and they've actually postponed the nomination process, I want to say, by another week or so.
Yeah, but there was some deadline that. Okay, so they postponed it, which means that like their next meeting, which is their pre-show meeting,
the early August,
they're going to do a hidden track before the convention,
right?
And in that meeting, they can make a decision about who they're going to nominate at the
DNC.
And they pushed that meeting back.
Yeah, I want to say they pushed it back to like the second week of August, so we're talking 3 or 4 weeks from now, where they have to decide that at that point. So, I mean, it definitely feels like that the dam is breaking when you see people like Joe Scarborough. You see you
lose a Scarborough, and a Mika, you're in trouble.
I mean, that's a massive media outlet for that wing of the party. And so for them to come out and say what we've been saying on the show for a month is that's a pretty big deal, I think.
Yeah.
It's not just these random 1 or 2 Congress members saying it, or a pundit here and there. This is pretty significant at this point. So yeah. So it seems like the most likely scenario is that he steps aside and endorses Kamala.
So is this what the fuck, Alan? Come on.
I think that's the most likely scenario.
Oh,
yeah.
It's Jover now. Like, it's not going to be Coconut Girl Summer.
Well, I think that so also Vance and Kamala have agreed to have a debate.
Well, and then MAGA put out a statement saying that it wouldn't be fair to commit to a debate since we don't know who the vice president is. We don't know who Kamala will be picking as her vice president.
I didn't see that. That's really funny though.
That sucks, man. If they put Andy Bashir on the ticket, I think they really could win. I mean, he has the formula for unity. He's the governor of Kentucky. He's been the governor. He's been elected twice in Kentucky at the same time period that Kentucky is voting for Trump and Mitch McConnell. And I betrayed the fact that those are the 2 big politicians of Kentucky that I know. But I know that when they get to vote for their governor, they say, well, okay, Republicans in there, but we like this guy, Andy Bashir.
Yeah, I mean, historically, a lot of Democratic nominees from the South have done well. You got Clinton, you got
Joe
Carter, you got, so
Joe Biden's friends with all them.
Yes, he is.
All those
so we shall see. I understand that
Kamala.
I know she has a lot of negatives, but honestly,
what happened last time the Republicans? I'm sorry, what happened last time Donald Trump went against a female Democrat with a shrill laugh? But I'm sexist. No, I'm saying this formula is a loser, and you're so incompetent, you walk right into it again. Are you fucking kidding me?
I think Kamala and Hillary.
At least Hillary actually had the padded up resume that made it legit. This lady fucked Jerry Brown and then became the attorney general for the state after she put a bunch of pot possessors in prison.
And then it said when she was asked, she said Jamaican. So of course I have.
And
no, I understand there's a lot of negatives. I still think that she's a better.
I would rather have Joe Biden on the ticket.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's Jover. Like it's a commodity. It's calamity.
I think she has a better shot than Joe does.
You know what? I think that that guy that missed Donald Trump had a better shot than she does.
Ooh, hot take.
That one missed. That was my point.
Hot,
it was about how it didn't work, is what I was saying.
Right.
Of course, I did start the show saying, "Oh my God, we are getting put into a camp when Trump wins." This is 2 shows in a row where it's like,
we'll be friends in the gulag. It'll be good times.
oh, we could write a book about it. When I read Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn, it's like, okay, I'm going to clean my room and not listen to you anymore.
Speaking of fun Democrats, do you want to hit this?
Wait, I actually am sad that if Joe Biden's not there anymore, I won't get to play things like this anymore.
You vote for somebody else, that's a vote for Trump. Vote for Biden.
I was saying that you got to vote for Biden while people are screaming in the background.
Who are we? For God's sake, it's dumb.
And
I've loved kids jumping on my lap. For God's sake, it's dumb. I was
Yeah, the nostalgia. We'll always have the nostalgia.
We'll always have Corn Pop.
Corn
Always
Pop
have
was
Corn
a
Pop.
bad dude.
He was a bad man.
Bad dude.
Bad dude.
Yeah.
Had hairy legs.
No. Biden had hairy legs and kids would twist his hair into little knots. It's a different story, Alan. Senator Bob Menendez was convicted of bribery and corruption charges tied to helping foreign governments. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Amy Schumer's uncle, called on Menendez who plans to appeal, called on him to resign.
So he is running as an independent in the 24 cycle because obviously he can't run as a
He's
Democrat.
like, people love me. They're going to know this about me and still love me. That's wild.
They found like hundreds of thousands of dollars in his
Old
house
bars.
and gold bars. He had clear connection to the Egyptian
I don't want to hear
government.
a single person ever tell me we don't rip on the Democrats anymore.
He had clear connections to the Egyptian government and obviously seemed to
He had ties to halal.
Yes,
fraud.
halal. Yeah,
there was halal fraud
while he was on the Foreign Relations Committee.
Yeah.
So yeah, clearly he was selling his position and his
Power
ability to move. Yeah, to move the needle as a senator. And I'm glad he got it. He got what was coming to him.
Yeah.
So fuck that guy.
What would they fucking deserve? Your turn, buddy.
The House Oversight Committee subpoenaed the Secret Service director to testify on Monday in the first hearing.
Cheadle.
Cheadle.
So out here we have a county called Chatham County, but it's spelled Cheatham, and I always want to say Cheatham first.
I always want to say like Don Cheadle, but it's like
Yes.
Cheadle. Yes.
Which honestly, he was a superior war machine. Especially
He
now
was.
we know that Terrence Howard is a fucking wacko.
Also in that he is a wacko. Cheadle played Sammy Davis Jr. in the HBO.
The 4 people in a room.
Yeah, the Frank Sinatra thing.
Oh, wait, wasn't it Sam Cooke in the 4 guys in a room thing?
Sam Cooke, yeah.
In Miami, yeah.
No, Sammy Davis Jr. was Sammy Davis, Don
Cheadle.
Yeah,
Don Lemon.
Don Cheadle and Frank Sinatra. Who was?
Are we naming Rat Pack people?
Yeah, Rat Pack. The Rat Pack. That was the name of the movie.
Oh,
yeah. I was trying to think of that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was fun. He was really good in that. Anyways, the Homeland
he was in that movie like Talk to Me, Lie to Me. What was it? Don Cheadle.
The Rat Pack
DJ.
movie was actually.
What was that DJ movie? Talk to Me. Remember that DJ movie? Talk to Me, where he's the flame throwing DJ. They talk in DC.
Oh.
They used to talk about it on Don and Mike all the time. They used to quote it.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Why?
Oh, yeah. Okay. The Homeland Security Inspector General opened an investigation.
Oh, Don Cheadle.
Secret Service's handling of security around Trump's attempted assassination on Saturday. So Congress essentially has subpoenaed her to come and testify about what happened. They've asked her to come on Monday. She said,
they asked her to what? On Monday?
On Monday, yeah.
Yeah,
And she's like, I'll come, but maybe like the week after that.
A week later, Alan?
Continue to create calm.
Takes a while, you know?
That's just calm.
Yeah. So as we said on the last episode, definitely there will be a shit ton of investigations into what happened and what went wrong.
Wait, last episode, you mean the hidden track where we talked for 40 minutes before we did this episode and we can't.
I was talking about the Wednesday episode.
Did we say that then too?
Yeah, we did.
We wouldn't repeat ourselves. That seems disorganized. Words I would not use to describe what I do. Did you say the second one? 5B? I wasn't listening.
I did.
Okay. All right. She should fucking resign though, right? Like, I guess we already talked about that. We talked about it. People
that was in the hidden track. I think she should, and I think she probably will.
When Joe was doing his interview, he called her a man.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Joe referred to her as a him. What? Because he's like, well, it's the head of the Secret Service. You think I keep track of who I hired? And like, I mean, it's a man. There's no way it's a woman. Like, no, you hired a woman. I hired a what? Like, well, just for Trump's detail, right? Like, no, head of the Secret Service.
Head of Secret Service.
I got it. You know what? Barack's point got a point. I need to resign. That's probably what happened. He called her a man. He had no idea. He's like, you know what? That's the last straw. Maybe I am losing my mind.
You got me.
It's got to be hard to find out if you're losing your mind, right? Like, tell me you don't like. Do you have any senility in your family?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
So my grandpa did, but it was like he was 82. You know, like,
okay.
I mean, if I get to 80, whoa, Joe Biden's 81. Like, it was late in life, right?
Sure.
My stepdad, which I don't think it's contagious. My stepdad's dad had Alzheimer's, and like I grew up. So my mom remarried when I was 5. Well, sorry, she started dating him while I was 5. By the time I was 8, his dad was dead. But I have memories of going to see his dad in the late stages of Alzheimer's, and it was just like, I would not say it was traumatic, but I would say, like, of my core childhood memories, these are the ones that I'm like, they put like, I mean, anybody. I mean, okay, how about this? I don't know how old you were when you found out about Alzheimer's. I was that age, and it was happening right in front of me. And it really, like, so I'm always, like, a long time ago, I heard that. So I might not finishing my sentences. I'm doing Biden, huh? I'm always concerned, like, what if these are the stages of it? Plus, I had an ex that one time was like, I always, just for fun, I like to call things like a different word when I ask for them, like if this pencil's here or this pen's here, I'm like, call it a pencil. I want this pen here. And I'll be like, hey, hand me that banana over there. It's just a funny thing that I do sometimes. And I had an ex that said that I shouldn't do that because I'm not keeping my brain sharp and it's going to invite senility in. I was like, oh, wow. I mean, I feel like she's full of shit, but at the same time, like, that stuck with me. I'm constantly worried. And then, so I read this thing once that was like, senility isn't looking at something and not being able to remember the name. It's looking at something and not, well, actually, I said it wrong. It's not looking at something and calling it the wrong name. It's looking at something and not recognizing it.
Not knowing what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as my family history, I don't know anything about my mom's side. And my dad's side, I'm not aware of any of that happening. You know, my grandmother died relatively young, I want to say, from colon cancer. I don't think there's any of that there. But I have been around it in that I've had people I worked with, friends of mine, etc., who've gone through it, and it's rough, man. It's really rough. I remember I had a guy who worked for me years ago when I was like 20, and his mom would take a piece of paper and draw a clock and write the numbers around it because she thought that would help, like, maintain her.
That was like her spinning the top in Inception.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then she got Alzheimer's, and it was pretty bad, and she went pretty fast. Here's a silver lining. There was a study in Japan a couple years ago that showed that people who own dogs have like a 40% less chance of getting Alzheimer's. And they think
people have it.
No, they actually studied the difference between dog owners and cat owners.
Okay.
And they had a 40% less chance if they were a dog owner versus a cat owner.
Yeah, so these cats are out there trying to steal your brain.
Well, no,
the Egyptians knew about this.
They think they surmise that it's possible the reason for that is because dogs make you more social. You have to go outside and walk a dog. And when you're walking a dog, you interact with people, and people want to pet your dog and say hi to you.
I pet your dog?
Yeah, exactly. Can I pet that dog? And so, that's good for you.
Well, I appreciate you doing the higher note. Can I do one more downer?
Sure.
The hardest thing for me as a kid in that situation with my dad was watching him not. There was a day where I only saw my dad cry twice. Once it was at his dad's funeral, and again it was when his dad didn't recognize him.
Oh,
and like that was, I mean, I was like 6.5, 7. Like that was a rough thing to see as a kid, man.
Yeah.
Funniest version of it though was he needed to get to the bathroom in the middle of a movie, and people weren't getting out of his way in the theater, and he just went arms above his head, medical emergency, medical emergency, in the middle of a movie playing. And like, I mean, we never stopped laughing about that. Like that was one of the best ones, and it was at that time period where we could tell him about it, and he'd be like, it's kind of funny. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's tough. I have a friend right now going through it. Her mom will bring up people who have been deceased for years and ask about them, and she's like, "Mom, that person died like 8 years
brought
ago."
the show back up. Like
I know.
like,
I'm sorry.
You're just fucking ponderous, man. Fucking ponderous.
By the way, I talked to Addie before the show. It is kind of nice. The upside of finding your dog dead in your house and having to bury her that night before the sun goes down, you do have a place to go talk to them. And I happened to put her at the last place where the sun shines on. Yeah, it's kind of nice.
We have
It rained really hard last night, and I wanted to make sure that nothing happened to her area.
We have like a little doggy graveyard up at my dad's place. So every time I'm up there, I'm always, because I have a dog up there in that.
Oh,
yeah. Anyways, let's move on, shall we? Where are we? The Secret Service increased security around former President Trump weeks ago after learning about an alleged Iranian plot to kill him over the 2020 death of Qasem Soleimani that appears unconnected to Saturday's attempted assassination. So they had already boosted security for Trump because they were aware that Iran, I think, has actually said this, like that they're actively attempting to take him out, as well as some of people that served in his administration because of their taking out Soleimani, which was a huge general.
John Bolton, right?
Bolton.
Was there somebody else on there? There was 3.
I think there was a few.
Pompeo.
Pompeo, yes.
Yeah.
So we were aware of that. So they already had increased security.
This is a stupid headline, honestly.
Which makes it
it's
even
not
more
a stupid headline. There's 2 stupid thoughts from it. One is that's increased security.
Right. Yes. Yeah. It's absurd. It's absurd.
My tensions are high because of the whole dog thing, and now I'm like laughing, and it's laughing like a little more than is appropriate. But like that was increased security, which like I have a couple of thoughts of. One is like, what? I don't know what I expected from the Secret Service. Like, I feel largely we've just kind of been better. I get we're shooting people in schools and supermarkets and things like that, but like security increased so rapidly and then like we've just sort of had a pretty peaceful society that we've been able to be like, hey, that guy in the army surplus clothes over there, or like, I don't know, like there's,
especially post 9/11, especially, I would say that it's been a big,
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a long stretch after Reagan too, 9/11.
Sure.
But yeah, anyways, yeah, we've largely been like, well, if you're in public, you can't keep bringing your gun with you. Gosh, like, yeah. But ladders are okay, just for the record. 8-foot ladder, totally reasonable.
Totally fine.
5-foot ladder. Was it only a 5-foot ladder, or was it an 8-foot?
I thought it was 8. I thought it was 8.
Okay. All right.
Because I don't think a 5 would have got him on that roof.
I mean, to get his hands up, and if it's short enough, 5-foot ladder is easy to carry around. Like I used to keep one of those in the back of my truck all the time because it was like, well, I'll take this in with me. That's fine. 8 foot. You got to take that off the roof rack.
Yeah.
I said I had 2 thoughts. What on earth were we talking? Oh,
Secret Service.
Oh, why this is a dumb story.
Okay.
Did you just find out about the assassination? This is literally not changed. They just found out information that maybe it was going to be, maybe there's something that was going down at that time period. But it's like for the last 4 years, he's been on the hit list from Iran from having done that.
It's like almost 5, I want to say. Like
it was 2020. I think it was early. No, it was like January 2nd.
It was late in his term. Yes.
Yeah, but it was like, I think if it weren't for COVID, he was like in trouble for that.
Okay.
Yeah. It was pre-COVID. Pre-COVID 2020.
Saying
Just
something.
like, yeah, the sweet spot. Remember, we were all like, I got 2020 vision. It's going to be perfect going forward. What could possibly go wrong this
Got
year?
a
It's
good
my
feeling about this year.
2020.
A new decade. We're gonna have a good time.
All right. The Biden administration, as long as that's still a thing, is that still a thing? The
So
Biden
far.
administration said that independent presidential candidate RFK Jr. will be given Secret Service protection. Oh, isn't that something?
So this is our Secret Service
Oh,
segment of the show. So I don't know if you recall or not, but RFK had sort of complained that he wasn't getting Secret
Yeah.
Service
He's like, I
protection.
don't know if you understand this. I'm a Kennedy running for president.
Right.
At least twice, this has been an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, they've acquiesced. They're like, oh, you know what? Maybe that's a good idea. So they are giving him protection. I don't have a lot more to say about that. I
Into
don't know
my
if you do.
beer, and then I'm grabbing it out of my beer and licking it up. That's like, I am a cat. I don't need a cat. I'm a cat. Natasha, we can't get a cat. Yeah. And did you see he was like deeply ashamed that video got released of him being offered a cabinet position or whatever was going on in that Trump?
You know, I don't think that video made him look that bad. He didn't say a lot.
He said yes when he said, and we're going to win. When Trump said,
Yeah.
I'm going to win, he goes, yeah. I'm
But,
also
like,
running for president.
I think if you sort of zoom out and look at it objectively, he was just kind of like, yeah, sure. Like, it wasn't like he was.
Dog, if I'm trying to be president and the rival is offering me a job and saying he's going to win instead of me, I'm not going to forget that I would rather win. And I'm not going to say yes.
That's fair.
I'm going to say, actually, I think I still have a chance. And like, otherwise, I know I'm playing spoiler, in which case, how can I live with myself?
He does know that, though.
I don't think he does. The brainworm does not know. He's getting ratatouilleed.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I've never seen Ratatouille, by the way.
Oh,
I understand there's a hat and a mouse.
It's a good movie.
Yeah,
you should watch it. The UN projected that the global.
I know Alan likes anime. Oh, Alan in the hidden track admitted that he's a fan of anime and furries. I showed him a picture of some sexy sloths that wasn't appropriate enough for the actual show cover, and he's like, "Oh, I like that one." That made me uncomfortable.
Well, because it was.
Wait, no, go listen to the hidden track. Don't.
Yeah, go.
Stop. I've already spoiled it. Yeah, join the Patreon. It's $3. How much can that buy you? A banana? Am I doing the Arrested Development joke backwards appropriately?
That will get you probably 3 organic bananas, Dustin.
Probably.
Have you not been to the store recently?
They're 29 cents. I don't remember. 91101.
That was the code.
91011. That's the organic starts with the 9. Now, why don't you do the next headline? I'm going to double check bananas.
I still remember like the SKU number for batteries at Radio Shack from like 1998. So that's
4011. I never thought I was going to forget it. 94011 is the organic bananas.
Good to know.
Yeah. If you're ever in charge of ringing up your food and you want to get cheap produce, put in a 4011 and you're going to get a banana.
Oh, like it's self-checkout? You can just.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. I'm embarrassed. I didn't remember that. Okay. Sorry.
The UN projected that the global population will peak at 10.3 billion.
Peak is a scary word.
In 2084, and then begin to decline.
Oh yeah. Do you mean when we all start dying and the kids we haven't had weren't like, yeah.
In its biennial, yes, 2084. In its biennial world population report. So yeah, they believe that that will be peak. I think we're at we're at like 7 billion now, 8 billion maybe. And so yeah, they're saying we get to 10.3 and then it's over, and then it starts going down.
Yeah, well, we read Peter Zion's book, so
sure.
But now you got me saying Zion. I did say
Zion.
No, it's Zion. You always say Zion.
Okay. Are you googling what's the current world population?
Honey Crisp might be a 9110. I think.
Oh, you're still googling. Okay.
Oh, am I supposed to keep doing things? Are we doing a show?
Yeah, I think we're doing a show.
What did you think I was looking up?
I thought you were looking at the current world population.
No, I was looking at produce codes.
All right. Other people can Google that. That's fine.
Okay. Well,
you want to hit this next one?
UN projected global.
No, that was the one I just did.
I wasn't. The U.S., Canada, and Finland. The U.S., Canada, and Finland. Why does that feel weird?
Because you're saying
U.S.,
Finland.
the Canada, and the Finland announced the sounds like it's said in the first one and implied in the second too.
I think
the U.S., the Canada, the Finland, the U.S., Canada, and Finland announced a trilateral. Can I try this one again?
Yes.
The U.S., Canada, and Finland announced a trilateral pact called the Icebreaker Collab. Damn it! Can I do it one more time?
What? Yes. You got
U.S.,
this.
Canada, and Finland announced a trilateral pact called the Icebreaker Collaboration Effort, focused on boosting Arctic ship production amid increasing Chinese, move your cursor, and Russian influence in the region.
I think
Does
the
that have
sentence
anything
would
to do
work
with
better
climate change, Alan?
because
Is this about climate change? Did you get
Yes.
one of these liberal
Yeah.
hidden topics with your Al Gore climate change?
I think it was weird because they abbreviated U.S. If they had said the United States, Canada, and Finland, that would have been more like
That sounds normal. Yeah.
It would have sounded
The
better.
us.
The us. Yeah. So because of climate change, there are going to be new shipping routes open where there currently ships could not get through. But because the ice is melting, now you can go
Ice
that
is
direction.
melting?
Ice is melting. Yes. Ice is
They're
melting.
getting flagged. All of the AI words.
So Russia already has a big fleet. They have 40 icebreakers. Canada has around 20. Finland
Part of
has
their like future economic agenda is using the opening up Arctic. They're like, so climate change is happening, so we got to plan for it. And we're like, we're going to stop climate change over here. And meanwhile,
So if I told you that Russia has 40, Canada has 20, Finland has 9.
How many do we have?
Yeah.
69.
2.
Well, that's not enough.
That's definitely not
How
enough.
many F-35s do they have, though, Alan?
There is that. There is
Yeah.
that. We can just bomb the shit out of them. They're saying it's probably going to cost about $10 billion, and we're going to make a bunch of boats. The ultimate aim is
Hey,
for
you know why
all-
we partnered with a foreign country so that we could make boats?
Why?
Come on. Come on. I still got some libertarian in me. Say it with me. The Jones Act. We do not have the ability. Well, you know what? We make awesome military ships. Never mind. We still make military ships. Yeah, in Halifax. We make them up in
Nova Scotia.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a flogging Molly song. So the ultimate aim is for all NATO allies to build some 70
Aim? Really? The president's been shot and you're using such loaded language? Loaded? Loaded, Dustin? Really? The president's been shot and you're using such triggering language? Triggering? Alan, take over.
You know, you broached the possibility of doing a power hour. I feel like we're doing one right now.
I've had a beer and a half and a shot of whiskey on an empty stomach. I took a nap rather than eating before the show.
So the ultimate goal is for all NATO allies to build some 70 to 90 ships over the next decade. That is going to be a contested real estate.
Just one more than 69.
Just one more. Yeah. All right, your turn.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking up Halifax and naval shipbuilding.
Halifax, Nova
Scotia. I swear to God, we make ships in Canada. I'm probably it's okay.
They used to build ships here, like in Richmond. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
well, no,
do.
they hold ships over in Benicia Bay.
Oh,
anybody who's driven across the Benicia Bridge has looked to the right and been like, "Wow, look at all those boats." Remember that old? Are they still there?
Yeah, there's like a graveyard. I don't know if it's still
Yeah,
there or not.
we
I haven't
always
driven
called it
over
a ship graveyard. Yeah,
I don't know if they're still there. I haven't been over that bridge in a long
can't
time.
believe there's water there. Oh no, the level's going up. I got it back.
Yeah, it's going. Yeah, it's getting higher.
I forgot about it. All right. Alec Baldwin.
Yes.
A judge dismissed Alec Baldwin's Rust manslaughter trial due to prosecutors withholding evidence the day before Trump got shot by a patsy. That's right. You heard it here first. Alec Baldwin did it. Actually, you didn't hear it first. You heard that probably on Saturday.
Yeah, this sort of went under the radar a little bit because of all the
Well, it was pretty big fucking news, actually. And then the radar got elevated.
news. Yeah. So the prosecution apparently didn't provide some sort of.
Is this enough to be dismissed with prejudice, meaning it cannot be recharged?
That's how it was dismissed. Yes.
No, I know. Is that enough? Is what you describe why it doesn't ever deserve? You know what? Nobody should ever consider whether or not you killed somebody. Like really, you can't say that. Like, even if it's not explicitly his fault, he was involved in it and should have handled himself in a way that would have not accidentally led to this death. And maybe we should have a trial for it. Because what?
Because the prosecution failed to provide some evidence to the defense. I will say there is
completely dismissed. Like, shouldn't we just have another trial? That sounds like a mistrial.
It's a pretty egregious thing.
What were they withholding?
Some photo evidence.
Was it exculpatory evidence? Listen to that word.
I think that, so the prosecution says it was completely unintentional. They didn't mean to do it, but this is, I mean, there's precedent for this. If the prosecution is found to have not provided all the evidence they have to the defense,
you have another trial.
It's a pretty big deal.
I
will say
you should have another trial. How does it negate any concern?
I will say that
accountability.
there is a concurrent civil trial happening, in which he will likely be held liable financially. And honestly, I don't know that him serving jail time was likely anyways. So I think that's probably more
This
where
case
they
pisses me the fuck off. I'm sorry. Like, if you handed this to me and said, "Trust me, I filled it with blanks," I'm gonna go blank, 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 blank. Okay. I'm not going to be like, fantastic, pow, pow, pow. Like, you are responsible for that person dying. Like there is no reasonable gun owner in the world that would be like, fantastic, I'm going to point this right at a person.
Yeah, you
are.
Also,
his excuse was, I know it did that, but I never pulled the trigger. Oh, now we pretend guns don't work. Like,
yeah. Also, even with blinks, you're not supposed to actually point at the person.
Yeah, he didn't point at the actor. He probably pointed at the director of photography or whoever he murdered.
She was behind the person. Anyways, it's a whole thing. Yeah, I agree. It sucks, but that's where we are. So I don't really have a lot more to say about that.
I can't believe that there isn't an actual trial. Like, I can't believe that is a reason to not, but this is the same thing I'm always guilty of. It's the reason why people get mad at me about the Russia stuff. I thought that I still feel like it was worthwhile to be like, what the fuck was all this? Hold on. Like, let's not never get an answer to that,
Yeah, I think the conclusion that people drew from the Mueller report was largely
now the reason I have TDS is because I compared it to that. But like, who cares about the Mueller report? This isn't about that. The part of me that wanted an answer for that wants an answer for this too. Like, you're telling me that there's not going to be a trial and evidence and proof.
Well, I think that
and where's the stunt coordinator? Why are they not on trial? No, really, that's the prop coordinator.
I don't know if I don't know enough. I don't know if they are or not. But I think the Mueller report was nerfed by Bill Barr, and a lot of people took away the takeaways that Trump wanted to spin it as. Whereas if you actually read it, there was something there. It wasn't,
and there was two parts to it. He had two objectives: one, to prove if there was look into a possible relationship with Russia heading into the campaign, and two, investigate the supposed obstruction of justice. Basically, was there obstruction of justice in his handling of that? And Robert Mueller basically said, I don't know if there's anything worth prosecuting in the first instance, but in the second, you guys definitely should be concerned about the way he obstructed justice. And Bill Barr was like, so nothing happened. Here's 8 pages.
And that was the takeaway, I think, of a lot of people who just sort of got the surface level version of that report.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got a science and we got an econ headline, and then we'll go to other news. You want to hit the science one?
Oh, yeah. I forgot I'm part of this. Scientists confirmed the existence of a cave on the moon. Huh. Is it a cheese cave like we have in the Midwest?
No.
Well, the moon's made of cheese.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sure.
That could potentially be used. Oh, sorry. The cheese cave? It could be potentially... No, wait, hold on. It's not
the moon cave.
The moon cave could potentially be used to support permanent human bases. Have you seen For All Mankind on Apple TV? We're going to fight the Russians in space over this.
So there's obviously we've known there's caves on the moon for a very long time. They were actually able to get a little bit more clarity about this specific cave. It's near a moon. I think it was an Apollo landing site. So it's at least 100 meters deep. Unclear exactly how big it goes. They think that you'd have to probably use ropes and stuff to get down there.
Lunar spelunking.
Yes. And then you would need something to get back up, whether you build an elevator or whatever. couple of things they think about this is
One
that
thing that was really cool about one of the most recent Prometheus, that movie. Remember that Alien?
Yeah,
Prometheus, the movie in the Alien franchise. There's a scene. This is like what, like a couple hundred years in the future when we're exploring space. There's a scene where they go to they take some ropes off of a platform down into like a cave or something, right? And to rappel and to ascend with, they're using, or no, to get back up, they're using black diamond ascenders. Like, it's the color, they didn't change the color at all. And at first I was like, that's pretty poor product placement too. Like, you could have avoided using a piece of modern equipment. I was like, no, it works, and you're not going to be superior to that until you have like fully automated ones. Like, sorry, this is to our climbing community. Isn't it cool they did black diamond ascenders in Prometheus?
I don't even know what that is, but I'll take your word for
It's
it.
what you use to jug up a rope.
Nice.
Now I look like, instead of air dicking, I'm air milking.
So they believe that these caves, or this cave, was formed when there was volcanic activity on the moon. So another interesting sort of side note about this is that they want to like study the rocks and stuff that are down there, because they could get more interesting evidence of the early phase of the moon in rocks that haven't been, exposed to the surface,
Which is another reason to have a base there, because it's not exposed to the surface.
Yes. Yeah. So not being exposed to the surface gets you out of radiation.
Yes.
Because the moon doesn't have much of an atmosphere. You probably have a more stable temperature. Perhaps there might even be ice. There's a lot of cool things about that.
Like, real fucking nerds that talk about a moon base, they're always like, well, it would have to be in a cave somewhere.
Yep, it has to be. That's the only way it really sustainably works. Yeah. All right, real quick here. The producer price index, the PPI, rose 0.2% in June, slightly above expectations of 0.1. The wholesale inflation index is now up 2.6% on an annual basis. So this is another of many conflicting signs we've been getting about inflation in this economy.
So most prices are like largely to do with inputs for manufacturing.
That's the inputs to the economy. Okay. Yes.
So those are the people that make big dollar decisions based on the value of money, right? Like what interest rates are at, whether they can afford to do big dollar decisions based on that, right? Yes. What they get incentivized to put their money towards. So I would almost find that, whereas the consumer price index is much more due to volatility in the market from bad actors and things like a bird flu wiping out the price of chickens.
Yeah. CPI is based on what companies think that they can charge for what the market will bear, as well as
but this seems to have more to do with reality, I would think.
Yeah. So it's not a huge number, but the previous month's number was also revised up. Most people, so if you look at the way bonds are trading right now, it seems like we're anticipating a rate cut maybe in like September at this point. But that remains to be seen. The Fed is meeting at the end of this month, and most people think that they'll leave rates as they are. It's kind of
that's no bueno.
Kind of difficult to parse which way this inflation thing is going. I don't know. Gas prices are down. I feel good about that.
I know, and everybody I talk to is like, gas is up, and I'm like, well, I mean, it was
for me.
$3.69, and now it's $3.12 here. Like,
I was paying
$3.69. Damn, she fine. Okay.
I was paying over $5, and I'm
well. That's your California tax. Like, ooh, we got to put it through some special refinery, otherwise it's going to kill the planet.
All right, we got some
30 million people here deserve to have to fucking pay for that. Also, everybody here commutes, so it's literally a part of their livelihood.
We got some other news, and I
gave you a lot of headlines that I basically just didn't want to read this week,
and I can't read a lot of them because they're behind.
Because they're what?
They're behind paywalls.
You don't take the Washington Post anymore?
No,
that's fine. I don't.
Although, you know what happened? All right, this is funny side story. All right, so New York Times, I was paying $20 a month for New York Times.
What?
I was for like over a year, and I was like, fuck.
A month?
Yeah. I was like, New York Times is not Netflix. What the fuck? And so
literally my first thought.
So I was like, well, let me do the Rob Spiewak here. And so I canceled it. And then I got an email, and I get it for $4 a month now.
That was how they got you in the first place, right?
Yes. Yeah. So similarly with the Post, I canceled that, and the Post was $100 a year. And I got an email.
That's less than $20 a month.
Yeah, I got an email today saying I can get the year for $28, so I probably will resubscribe.
Okay.
$28
All right.
for
Well,
year.
we don't have to know what Blue Anon is. It's fine. I think it's
Uh,
implied in the name. It's what a conspiracy theorist on the Democrat side. Which,
yes.
all right, cool. You're being an idiot if you're assigning political parties to conspiracies. I will say, Republican. Okay,
Oh,
I
whoa,
can do
hey
this.
now.
Republicans in the MAGA camp largely can't point to facts that back a lot of their principled ideas.
hmm
They can point to vibes and shit like that, but like even like the classic like trickle down is factually inaccurate, right? Like
Sure.
whether or not most Americans want to see an abortion ban, not popular actually. Like they
Right.
don't truly get to point to a lot of facts to back their side up. So in reality, MAGA does not live within the reality based community. Therefore, people who also don't live within reality and say things like
Atlanta didn't never bomb.
that they are more susceptible to non-reality based things like conspiracies. Now, you're dead wrong if you think that Democrats don't like, or people who vote to the left don't like conspiracies too. And again, to your own detriment, these are the same people that think, well, Biden's not good, we should put Kamala in.
All right, so a couple other headlines here. This one also, I can't read all of it, but I can read the headline. Kenya, anti-government protesters abducted and tortured, say human rights defenders. We've talked.
He found a body in a quarry. And
Yeah,
there's other rumors that he had Ruto, right? Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
The president of Kenya.
Yeah,
He supposedly, at least, how about this? Protesters believe that he's disappeared bodies and tried to grind up the remains and stuff.
Yeah, it's some pretty wild stuff. We've talked about Kenya and sort of the unrest there for the last few weeks about, there was an attempt to raise taxes. People sort of revolted. They burned buildings.
Gen Z said, we're going to get hurt.
Yeah. And so he sort of walked that back, but it's still a very volatile situation.
Yeah, but so for a while, the protesters felt like they were getting what they had asked
Demanded.
for,
Yeah.
or something that is worth okay.
At least the government was listening. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it came out that these protesters had been disappeared and their remains being destroyed. So, I mean, the protests are continuing. Like it's escalating. Like this is a 2-day-old headline.
Yes. Yeah. It's some scary shit out there.
But it's not in the news because the president had his ear shaved. I'm joking. I'm joking.
This one is about how Hamas is fighting in Gaza. I don't think it's anything we didn't already know or suspect. Essentially, they're using guerrilla tactics. They are purposely wearing civilian garb. They are creating booby traps.
But it was from the New York Times.
Yeah.
I don't expect this from them.
They're creating booby traps. They are hiding behind civilians. As we know, it's.
I was laughing at the boobies, not the civilians.
Yeah, it's. This is similar to what our troops faced in Iraq in a lot of places. So we've seen this sort of warfare before. It sucks, and it sucks a lot for the civilian population that's stuck in the middle. And I don't think any of us didn't already know that, but the New York Times reported on it. So there. Let's see. This one. Oh, this was interesting.
This is from the New Arab.
Palestinian groups condemn Mahmoud Abbas for blaming Hamas for Israel's war in Gaza.
So there was too many osses in that, and I was just like, Alan can read this to me. I don't even know who anybody is here. Is Mahmoud Abbas PLA?
Yeah.
Okay. So PLA is the Palestinian. This is the Israel-backed Palestinian government, basically.
Right.
They got captured by Israel, essentially, and nobody in Palestinian territory respects.
Really, yeah, they don't really think of him as their leader.
PLA?
So he's saying that Hamas is the reason the war started, and they're like, no, that's not at all. Even though that's obviously true. Although, I mean, there's
say that again.
Palestinian groups have condemned him for blaming Hamas for Israel's war on Gaza,
and they told him that's not accurate.
Well, so obviously, the events of October 7th have precipitated what has now Israel's response.
If Palestinian groups are saying Hamas caused October 7th is wrong, then it's really hard for me, thousands of miles away, to say Israel doesn't have a point. They should keep fighting these people. I'm sorry. Hot take. Like if that's the common agreement, then you are at war.
I don't know that that's the common agreement. I don't think that your average Gazan would say
They
that.
probably would like to not shit outdoors anymore and find water.
Yeah, I do think that. I mean, if you really, really want to zoom out and look at the larger narrative here, there are reasons that some Palestinians felt the need to commit acts of violence.
Of course.
Whether even before October 7th, there are reasons, right? And those should
Open air
be
prison reasons.
right, and that should be acknowledged. I mean, this didn't start in
You
October.
throwing rocks over a fence, getting you shot reasons.
Yes, this has been happening since.
You don't understand. They would light fires next to the fence so that they could cut through the fence in other places.
Yeah, it's been happening since
out.
'67. People forcibly removed from homes, having their homes bulldozed, taken over by.
But they gave it back to them in 2006. It was fine.
No, they didn't.
Oh.
Anyways, so yeah, there's that. I think
I'm a riddle wrapped inside of a burrito, aren't I?
That's a good riddle wrapped inside. I like that. That's a good.
And then deep fried. God, I want a chimichanga.
That sounds really good.
Chim cham.
This is an old headline. This is from like when Trump was in office.
Oh, I put that there in case I didn't say it naturally in the show. I've managed to weasel it into the last episode. Trump. Okay. Well, go ahead. I mean, I think gun rights is in the news. Having somebody brought a gun into a political rally and shooting the president. I wonder what Trump thinks about guns.
This is from February of 2018. The headline is Trump take the guns first, go through due process second. So essentially, what he
I should think that most of what they said in Project 2025 is like hyperbole, right? So this man clearly respects due process. It's like you ignore it when it's about the thing you care about, and then you encourage it when it's about the thing that you want to see him do it about. Like everybody in that crowd is a 2A person, right? I mean, I would assume, maybe not.
I would assume, yeah.
Okay, but
or adjacent,
yeah. But fuck these illegals. Let's kick all these people. Fuck due process when it comes to kicking people out of our country and wrecking all those families in case you get it wrong, or maybe just maybe there's no reason that they shouldn't live here.
So this was after the Parkland.
Maybe I don't care.
This was after the Parkland, Florida high school shooting in February of that year.
It's brought us David Hogue,
which is why Trump was having this meeting with lawmakers. The suspected shooter was able to legally purchase the AR-15 reportedly used in the shooting.
You see, our youngest listener turned 18 today, and he bought himself an AR-15.
Congrats!
He couldn't buy a pistol though.
Despite numerous calls
to buy a handgun because he's only 18, but he can buy an AR.
So despite numerous calls to law enforcement about his unstable behavior, and Trump was like, you know what, fuck it, fuck due process. If you have these concerns, then you should just take the guns and worry about due process later. So he really, really cares about it. Clearly, it's a big issue for him. I think that's enough for other news. Should we get into media?
Yeah. What have you been watching? Did you watch Axel F?
I did. You were 100% correct. That was a fucking great movie.
I was like, it's somewhere in between in the first and the second one in terms of which ones I liked the most.
It was really good. I
loved
his
top 2 was good. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
There's a reason they made a third one.
I loved his daughter in it. I thought she was very funny, and their sort of interactions.
Dude,
were great.
They got right to it, right? Between that chase scene and her opening scene.
Yeah,
the car, it was the parking garage. That was pretty dope.
It was excellent, really good. I also watched Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Wait, how much? Oh, you didn't, because you got the Tim special, didn't you?
Yeah.
I really want to see that. I've heard it's really good. It did horribly in theaters.
It's really good.
I think the first one got promoted as such a feminist movie. I think dudes, which are like largely the main audience, were like, I don't want to go to theaters and watch that woke ass Mad Max. I was told that it ties everything together. And that it's the creator. We've done this before. I forget his name. It was the creator's vision the entire time. Like it's not
that was the destination he was trying.
Yes, it was not an accident. It wasn't like some new writers got a hold of it and tried to tie it all together. So this did like tie. I was told it was sort of like when you play a video game in a new area, the map kind of
opens up.
Yeah.
Is
that?
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not like the hugest fan of the whole Mad Max.
No, I got to admit, like the second and third ones make me a little sleepy when I watch them.
Yeah, this was really good.
Who on Bartertown? Who run Bartertown?
This one was really,
Say it.
I don't remember his name.
That's okay. I'll pull the clip up. Go ahead and give your review.
This one was really good. The action was great. The story was good. It sort of follows the life of this girl, who is born into the place where everything's cool, and then gets thrown into this crazy dystopic place. As I've recently consumed Hell's Angels by Hunter Thompson, the sort of the ethos of a lot of these crazy biker guys was like, oh, I recognize that. So that was fun. No, it's excellent. It's
Did
really,
it feel
really,
Australian? I loved about Mad Max is it was so fucking Aussie.
I didn't get that impression from this one.
That's
I
kind of
didn't
a
get that.
bummer.
Yeah, it's excellent. I would recommend people watch
Okay.
it.
Oh, you do. So you give it a great review.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's a good movie.
Can I play the clip from Thunderdome?
Yeah, do it.
4, 3, 2.
For God's sake, what now?
Who run Bartertown?
I think that's
Damn
Vern
it.
Troyer.
I told you no more embargoes.
I think that's Vern Troyer, right? No?
Sure.
Never mind.
More blaster. Who run Bartertown? Who run Bartertown?
You know who.
Say.
Master Blaster.
Master Blaster.
Say loud.
Master Blaster.
Master Blaster. What?
Master Blaster runs Bartertown.
Louder.
Master Blaster runs Bartertown.
Lift embargo.
That was important to me.
I'm glad we got that in the show. Also, I recently started a audiobook. It's called Camelot's End by John Ward. It is about the 1980 Democratic primary between Ted Kennedy and Jimmy Carter. I started it because I heard.
Chappaquiddick was literally today in 1978.
Yeah, I've heard
Today's
a couple.
date, 1978 was Chappaquiddick when Ted Kennedy crashed the car. You know, he was trying to drive to like a private beach to fuck that girl.
No,
He was like, "Well, I'll take you to the ferry and we'll get you back to your room." And then he had to go over a 6-inch dip from when it went from the main road to the dirt road. And he's like, "I got lost." It's like, yeah, I don't think any driver would go over a 6-inch dip by accident, right? And yeah, and he crashed the car into a channel that had a current, and that's why he couldn't swim down to get to her because he kept getting pulled from the car.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That guy, there was a lot of things in that. He had the plane crash where he broke his back.
Ted Kennedy?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was flying from DC to Massachusetts.
I was just getting over flying. Lately, I've looked at planes flying. I got kind of jealous. I think I'm over my fear of flying.
Good. Yeah, so I heard. Hulk Hogan's on the TV. That's
would you want to turn it up? Come on, turn it up. Crank that shit up.
All right.
All the Trump-a-mania run wild on you, brother.
That's it. You can turn it back down. What are the fucking odds that the time you turn that down is? What are you gonna do with Trump-a-mania?
Oh wow.
Oh, hey, speaking of breaking news, drone strike reported on Tel Aviv.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Anyways, I was saying, so Camelot's End. So
anyways, literally, you did the fucking Top Gear meme. Oh, anyways. There's dead people.
All right, so I had heard somebody
Jesus
on a
Christ.
podcast or a pundit somewhere say the reason that nobody mounted a serious campaign against Biden
Hezbollah might have done this
in the election was because nobody wants to be Ted Kennedy.
Wait, what are all the words? What?
So I don't remember where I heard this, but somebody had said that the reason nobody mounted a serious campaign against Biden in the Democratic primary this year was because nobody wants to be Ted Kennedy,
who took over, who was trying to be like Carter, get the fuck out of the way.
Yes. Yeah.
Huh.
And
that doesn't make sense. It was LBJ or no? Oh, it was Ford who dropped out so that Carter. That's really interesting because 4 years prior, Carter was running against Ford.
But he wasn't but in 80 he was an incumbent. He had been the president.
Yes, yeah.
And so Reagan won, and a lot of people in the Democratic sort of system blamed Kennedy for mounting a serious campaign against Carter in 80 for Carter losing. And so I heard that and I was like, okay. So I was vaguely familiar with kind of what happened, but not very familiar.
That's not super in depth for me. So this is Camelot's End. Oh, I get it. It's
Camelot's End. Yeah. And so I've just started, I think I'm like 2 or 3 chapters in. It's very good so far, and it's very informative. A lot of details, stuff I didn't know. So I will let you know when I finish it, but I'm enjoying it so far. And I think it makes a lot of sense based on where we are politically right now to sort of.
I've been listening to a book as well called Not 1 Inch. I've talked about that. It's free if you have an Audible subscription. It's a very detailed story of the play-by-play of the fall of the Berlin Wall and the expansion of NATO and all the people involved. Like, Russia wants to get upset about anything, they could just talk about how bad Gorbachev was. Like, every single decision point, while it was like on the knife's edge, he was like, oh, well, the people of Germany should have a chance to vote. They'll probably vote for us. And it's just like, what? Because like at one point, the head of the KGB and like his Secretary of State were in a room with Gorbachev and talking to our head of Secretary of State, and I don't remember who else. I don't think it was Bush. No, Bush might have been there. And and it was the leaders in Bonn, West Germany. And that guy Kohl, the leader of West Germany at the time, President Chancellor Kohl, he was saying, what if you let the people of Germany decide? I think that's the best thing to do. And the KGB head and the Secretary of State for Russia or the USSR were like, don't fucking listen to that. That's crazy. But they looked at Gorbachev. He's like, that's right. They might vote for us. And then the Chancellor of Germany was like, that's right. They might vote.
Totally. That could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. Yeah. It's better than a textbook, but it's not very. I wish that the narrative was more storytelling wise. Like, it is still good, but it's just I keep rewinding because I keep having it twice. It's not like the first time you heard it, it like goes right into your brain cells. Yeah. I did talk about that series Eric that I liked on Netflix.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
Okay.
It's about a missing child, and it takes place in either the early 80s or late 70s. So it's like Ninja Turtles, New York City, right?
Right.
Like the New York City where people are stealing boom boxes and kidnapping kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And the main character is by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes. He's the dad.
He's the dad. He basically plays Jim Henson, and he runs like a Sesame Street show, and where he's the puppeteer and he created the whole thing. And there's drama involving City Hall, the sanitation workers, the homeless crisis.
A lot of political controversy.
Yes. And if you feel like you don't understand it all comes together, it's going to come together by the end. I will say, though, part of the way that they did that really, I felt it was an artistic decision that didn't have to be put on screen. And it made me
You kind of hinted at that last week.
Yeah. It's on the second to last episode. I would say that I think that's worthwhile of being warned about. I'm not spoiling anything.
Yeah, I'm only like a couple episodes in, so
it's a lot. Like, I never watched more than one episode a night. It was never something where I was like, well, I never felt like I don't want to watch more of it. I never felt like I need to watch another of those now. It gives you a full dose of emotion. I really liked it. Let me just check in with. Texted her.
Oh,
hi, honey.
Hi. Sorry, I meant to send you to voicemail. I'm on the phone with Maddie.
What else did we watch?
I don't remember. I think we watched that Abraham Lincoln show.
And The Boys.
Modern, and The Boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Love you.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Almost done. Is dinner ready? Oh,
she already clicked.
Yeah, she
She was talking with Maddie, dude. Like,
I know. Maddie's the best. Wow, she was talking to Michelle earlier too. That's a good night, man. She's getting some quality time in with friends. This is just, I'm in podcasting land, dude. I'm doing the same thing with you, with my one friend. So we watched the Abraham Lincoln show on Apple TV called Manhunt, which so far I recommend if you're a
Okay.
history buff about that. They have portrayed it very well so far. And like, dude, there was an opening scene before as it was starting off. I'm like, I wonder if they're going to show Mary Surratt. That would be pretty wild if they didn't involve Mary Surratt, but that is a little niche. Turned out being the first woman to be hanged in the U.S. and very controversial. Yeah, Stanton insisted on it because she very clearly ran the boarding house that had the conspirators staying there, and she supplied them one way or the other. Now, whether that deserves capital punishment, I disagree with, but in the realm of people that got hanged back then, I think it was pretty reasonable. It was only bad taste to hang a woman. Anyways, during the opening scenes, there was like a woman in what appeared to be a boarding house because there was like men walking down the stairs behind her. I was like, oh shit, they're going to include Mary Surratt. So like factually, it's done very well. Their depiction of Edwin Stanton is not what he looked like. When you see that show, Edwin Stanton was a stout, portly man. If he wasn't portly, he was taller, or if he wasn't stout and was taller, he was still very round. Not quite Garfield-esque, but and he had a beard too. And this guy just doesn't look like Edwin Stanton. But other than that, I think they captured Lincoln well. He has a high-pitched, nasally voice, like everybody says he has. I thought that was pretty good depiction.
He's skinny and tall.
Yes, he's skinny and tall. Yes, and we watched The Boys, which is universally panned by the right. I've liked it so far, although it is becoming very much a drama. I mean, a soap opera. And I'm reminded that the creator also ran 13 seasons of Supernatural, which probably didn't need to last that long. We'll see. I think it's pretty funny that it was always a satire of the right, but this season it's much more explicit, and people are like, well, jump the shark. It's like, you just didn't realize Homelander was Trump. That's fine. Also, it's fiction, man. Like, it's fun. Like, none of this is real.
I've heard it's good. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's predictable at this point, though. I will say that.
Cool.
Or are we done?
Yeah, we have a game. I think you have
I don't have a game. Oh, do you have a game?
I don't. I think you have a story.
I have history. I have North Carolina history, which for a while I was like, we're doing a lot of North Carolina stuff. It feels very niche. I had a listener be like, yeah, I'm either they're friends with or they know Slickets, and so they were like, well, Slickets Digital. This guy seems to know cool people. Let's listen to this podcast. Something like that, right?
Okay.
I think Slickets shared one of our things and he found about our podcast.
Cool.
And he's like, I just moved to North Carolina like a few years back. So I love that all the North Carolina history. I listen to your podcast. I'm like, all right.
There you go.
So in that case, this is right up your alley, bud. I'm actually going to read this on the fly because I didn't want to know it before. So if you'll allow some hour and a half into the show of drinking stumblings. This is submitted by none other than Young Thrash Lad.
Yes.
In 1979, Conrad Reed, the son of John Reed, a former Prussian soldier in the Revolution, found a 17-pound rock. Oh, it was a cool rock. In a creek, which the family used as a doorstop for 3 years.
Like you do.
Like in Joe Dirt, where it's like, it's a meteorite. And he taps the front and it's got turds in it. There's poo. The poo's on me. Upon inspection by a jeweler in 1802, it was discovered that the boy had actually carried home a 17-pound gold nugget.
Jesus.
The jeweler who did the inspection then bought the nugget from the unsuspecting. This is magic beans, isn't it? The nugget from the unsuspecting Reeds for $3.50. Now about $3.50.
$3.50.
That's less than 0.1% of its actual value. The Reeds then started the Reed Gold Mine, where in less than a year, a slave boy named Peter would find a 28-pound solid gold nugget, which remains the largest ever found east of the Mississippi. In 1895, with the mine under new ownership, another 23-pound nugget was found.
Fuck.
The mine was the first commercial gold mine in American history, and in North Carolina led the country in gold production until 1848. It is now a state park and a museum.
Wow. So before the San Francisco gold rush, there was a North Carolina
gold rush.
Yeah,
with a bunch of
wild.
dummies. Just a bunch of dummies. Doorstops.
We have a 17-pound gold nugget as a doorstop.
How do you not know? I mean, it's intrinsically the value it is, because like across cultures and time, people are like, I don't know why this is valuable. Like, I like it. It's shiny. It's pliable. I can
Shiny.
and you're just like, well, I can keep my door open. Wow.
That's wild.
Wow. That is wild. Weird and wild stuff.
Are you going to ask me a question and we got to
Yeah,
play
I think
the
I should
song?
ask you a question, but I didn't yet plan for this.
Outro.
Well,
I have a question.
Oh, what?
Should I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Have you ever met anybody named Hunter?
In real life?
Yeah.
I lived in Southern California. I'm sure I met.
I was going to say you live in San Diego, so maybe.
That reminds me of something.
I never have. And I was wondering if when the president named his son Hunter,
Thompson?
If it was in some relation, like maybe he was a fan of Hunter S. Thompson.
Every time I meet somebody named Hunter that's more than like 30 years old, I assume that their parents were fans of Hunter.
And so if he did that, is it really that surprising that he
He's
was
a
into drugs and hookers?
raging drug addict?
Yeah.
What the fuck am I gonna ask you that's gonna top that? Oh man, great question. Thank you, Alan, for landing the plane.
Absolutely. Cheers. That was fun.
Cheers. I will see you in no less than 5 days.
Indeed.
No, I didn't. Hold on. Indeed.
When a guy's banging you,
Y'all let me in this damn house.
oh, how about that?
Come in the name of peace. LMFAO.
What in the world is this?
Is Kevin McCarthy a moron, and if so, why? Why would you say something that stupid?
I come without explanations or solutions.
I'm a very sexy lady.
Cat turd.
I will not suffer this harlot.
How great! An anti-American Marxist.
Ted Cruz, go fuck yourself.
Read the news.
China is asshole.
God bless the United States.
Now this is podcasting.
Drive safe.